Goal is that we add texture to our bottles once we're done constructing the form. So I'm skipping a bit ahead of you guys, most of you, because you still have some building to go with coils and such, and smoothing out and all those things. But I want to give this to you today so that as you're ready, you can remember these things and know about how to get started. So if you think back to the beginning of this project, how we got started was by finding slides of different textures, things that inspired us from nature, organic items, water, landscape, rock formations. I looked at the stalactites and stalagmites and showed you guys those. So you're going to need to, again, once you get done building, go back to that. You have that slideshow that you created. Go back to that and remind yourself of what you like about certain things that you're pulling from nature. Nature, when we think about that, yes, birds live in nature and all those things. We are not going to put onto this vessel, we're not going to carve out little winged birds or cat faces or hearts or puppy dogs or the big rain clouds with some raindrops. That's not what we're talking about. We're going to use inspiration from things from nature. Think about what they look like and use that to inspire our texture and things that we are putting on this space. Okay, so I want to run through some tools with you today and some ideas for techniques, but there's no right way and you don't have to follow a certain formula in here. Okay, I'm just going to show you some different ways to work. So when I told you, I mentioned the stalactites, that stalagmite kind of idea. Here's, one way as I would think back to how those looked. Well, what did I like about them? I liked that they seemed to have kind of different layers that dropped onto each other and settled there. They went from small to large and they were very irregular. I really liked that look. So while I'm not staring at a picture of a stalagmite, I'm looking just back to what drew me to those things all together, and I'm going to use that to inspire this. So the goal is not to draw a landscape on your vessel. The goal is not that. It's just to use some certain ideas that you like. So one thing, I just sketched this out. I really like, this is a ribbon tool. They come in different sizes and you can play around with what you like best. This is my favorite one ever. You can use that to kind of sketch your idea. If you go really lightly, if you don't like it, you can erase it, all right? A lot of times the temptation is to sketch your idea with a needle tool. The problem with that is it's harder to control and it gets really, it doesn't carve the clay away. It just kind of makes it really rough. So don't do any designing with your with your needle tool necessarily. And what I've done here by carving out of this is called a subtractive method. I'm subtracting the material from its original surface. You can use that subtractive method. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to turn my tool this way now and play around with how that works for me. So I'm going to carve away around the outside of that line I just sketched on there. I can change it a bit. I can go directly with how it was. That's up to you. So you can kind of see, I wonder if yeah. It doesn't want to focus very much. You can kind of see how, come on, yeah, alright, I'm going to just back that up to there. So I'm carving away from the outside of it, like so. Alright, the other thing that you can do is the additive method, and that is going to be taking more clay and adding onto the surface. So that's going to be a texture that actually stands out. Okay, texture, the very definition is how something looks or feels as though it might feel that it has texture and such. So if you add clay, then it will of course feel a certain way. That will be the texture to it. So I'm going to take this, because my form right here is more leather hard than super soft. I'm going to just add a little extra insurance here. Whenever you add two pieces of clay together, you're running a risk that it dries differently and can fall or crack off. So because this is pretty dry, still workable but dry, I'm just going to add a little bit of extra stuff. So I remember from what I looked at, the picture that I have in my head is that this material kind of looked to be settling down on itself. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to add this clay. Boy. Right to that. See there, you can kind of see where it's sticking out. You can press the clay on and smooth it in, and then it sticks out like that. Okay? So adding clay isn't going to be about making little swirls and shoving them on the side. That can be a thing that you do, but you don't want it to get too cutesy, kitschy. We want these to be our own. We don't want to turn these into something that looks like you can just buy it from Hobby Lobby. So definitely avoid writing on these. No live, laugh, hope, love, dance, dream, all that stuff. Not that that's bad stuff, but for art class, we're not doing that. So, and you know, to do swirls like that, well, what kind of natural item is that? You know, some people could say, well, I want to make snails all over. That's just going to look a little too cute. A hurricane? Yeah. I mean, you know, if you figure out an artistic way to interpret your landscape is what your item from nature is what I'm getting after. Okay, so I showed you those two tools. I'm going to just briefly go through some other ideas with you. Not that you'll use every single different one on your own vessel, but to give everybody some different looks. You can use, this is a wooden modeling tool, and you can use this to press into the clay. You can, this has a different edge, a different side to it too, to kind of, you can press in that way and make marks like that. There is this tool, which can carve out really nice things for you too. They'll get a little crumbly here and there, so you want to smooth that out. But that would be a good way to draw things in there. What else do I have up here? Oh, this modeling tool has this kind of fun little end on it where you can press that into the clay too. This loop tool could make little, if you point it in at its very top point, you can turn it like that and get little circles in there. And also, you know, another way to add play around, you guys. Like I said, there's no one right way to do this. So it's all about you just playing with this and figuring it out for yourself. While I'm here to help completely, I'm not here to give you all your own personal idea. That's up to you to get. That's the problem to this project. That's what I'm expecting you to do, is work and work and work, practice, practice, practice until you come up with a solution that you like and that you think looks nice. Okay, so I can't walk around the room and give everybody your ideas. I can tell you some of the best ways to get them done so that you're successful though. Okay, that's the difference. So you can add clay on like that just by pressing little balls of clay onto the surface. There's all sorts of things you can do there. You could put your texture all over this, or you could just put it on the front. You could have your texture creep up the neck of the bottle, or you can have it stay just down here. Okay, so there's lots of different ways to go with this. And you know, like I said, it's up to you to decide where you're going to take it. A lot of people love that kind of freedom, and some of you feel quite comfortable with all of that, or quite uncomfortable with all of that freedom. So I'm trying to push you guys in a way that you can be successful in here and start trusting yourself and making decisions. Another thing you can do is score the surface to give it that kind of, all kinds of stuff. Okay. Now, as you're doing the texture, you still don't want it to dry out. You want to keep this workable for the entire duration of the project. So be careful about that. Do you have questions on this? Anything? Nothing? One other thing too is while you're handling it, at some point put your name down at the bottom. You could use your pencil or a ballpoint pen. That works really well. And that is that. Now, before I stop here,